So in here quickly we'll be talking about anthrax bacterial infections. Alright, so the anthrax bacteria are basically what a gram positive type of bacteria, okay? And they can cause an infection to human beings. Alright, they can cause an infection through your skin, that's what we call what cutaneous. They can infect the respiratory tract, that's what we call what inhalational. And they can what um affects what the gastrointestinal tract. That's what we call a type of what gastrointestinal anthrax. All right. So in here we'll be describing how this anthrax bacterial infections will look like by using write-ups and also what using images to actually what define it. All right. So here you could see this is a typical what anthrax bacterial infection. Where you basically having you could see that's like it's like a bone. All right, it's like a bone. But yeah, you see by the sides there's inflammation. Definitely there will be pain too. All right. So now let's define what an anthrax bacterial infection looks like. So first of all, the organism causing this is what we call the Bacillus anthracis. Okay. So this Bacillus anthracis is a spore-forming gram-positive bacillus. All right, and is prevalent in animals. Okay, that have contact with what spore contaminated soils. All right, so if you have contact with because this organism is spore forming, all right, if you have contact with a soil that this organism has what contaminated, then you're actually what prone to actually have this the infection by this organism. All right, so this is how the bacillus anthracis look like. All right, they look like rod. All right, rod, but they are interconnected and it somewhat look like a chain. All right, so we said that humans contract anthrax, that's an infection, through exposure to what contaminated animal products or powdered pus, right? That's a biological weapon, all right? So now three major anthrax syndromes are known. Now in all cases, lesions are characterized by what necrosis, right? Necrosis is basically what cell death, all right? And this necrosis will have what neutrophils and macrophage exudate. That means like the pus that will be coming out through that side that the tissues have died, okay? Neutrophils will also be there, macrophages will also be there. All right. So first of all, we have the cutaneous one, and the cutaneous one is more of like it will start painless. All right. So it's painless pruritic papules that become what endomatous vesicles followed by black eschar. Okay. Then we have the inhalational one. That's the one that basically will affect the respiratory system. Sorry. All right. And this one it rapidly leads to what sepsis, shock, and frequently death. Okay. Then we have the one affecting the GI. That's the gastrointestinal one. Now, before something goes into the gastrointestinal tract, it means maybe you have taken a food that was contaminated. Okay. So now we said that what this GI one, that's the gastrointestinal one, is contracted by what eating contaminated meat. It causes severe bloody diarrhea and often death. Okay. So still moving. This is the one affecting the respiratory tract, of course. You inhale the anthrax spores. All right. Now, anthrax spores will enter the lungs and travel to air containing spaces. That's the alveolar spaces. All right. So now these spores are transported through the lymph system to glands and they lie between the sternum and the spinal column. That's the mediastinal lymph nodes where they make what deadly toxins. All right. So they make some deadly chemicals and they release it into your body, and that's what basically causes the reaction to the disease. Okay. So anthrax, basically talking about the toxin, we said that the toxin is composed of a B unit is a B subunit involved in what toxin endocytosis. And we have the A subunit of two different types. That means you have B units and what A units. Now the A units contains the edema factor, which basically converts what adenosine triphosphate to what the cyclic what adenosine monophosphate. All right. Now when ATP is converted to CAMP, it will cause what cellular water efflux, right? So water will now leave the cells into the interstitium compartment, all right, thereby making all those pores, all right? Then the A unit still has the lethal factor, which is a protease that will cause what cell death, all right? So Bacillus anthracis, this image is basically showing what Bacillus anthracis in the subcapsular what sinus of a hilar lymph node of a patient who died of what inhalational anthrax. All right, so you can see all this trying to show what Bacillus anthracis what infection. All right, so Bacillus anthracis infects mostly farm animals and is usually spread to human through a break in the skin. All right, so you have a break in the skin like a wound in the skin and you still have a contact with anything that is contaminated by this Bacillus anthracis, then it's basically what transmit to you. All right. So on that basis, that's it about what anthrax bacterial infection, right? So we spoke about what cutaneous anthrax, inhalational anthrax, and gastrointestinal anthrax, right? So you guys pretty cool now.